Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Legends of the Seas. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of Legends of the Seas by Arcada Studio. Now this is a sponsored preview. This is also a demo copy in front of me, so all rules, components, things like that are subject to change. And this is also a current GameFound campaign, so you can check out the link down below for everything that they have planned. Now, Legends of the Seas is going to be a game where you are cooperatively playing as pirates, where you're trying to get your ship, the Arrow, through different scenarios. So this is going to be scenario based, and it's also going to be app based, which I will walk you through in just a little bit, but you're going to select different scenarios and then what crew members you're currently going to be playing with and have them play through the scenario trying to fight off the oncoming threats. So as you may have noticed, there are things such as the Kraken, but there are also enemy ships that you're going to be fighting off with your different cannons, but you're going to be taking a lot of damage as well. So one of the main mechanics of the game is not only being able to fire at opponents, but also rebuilding your ship, because you need to protect the inside of your ship. It's very vulnerable, and if it's ever damaged and destroyed, then you lose the game. So your outer edges can be destroyed and then repaired, which you want to make sure that you're able to do so, because they are going to be getting shot at. But if the inside is ever destroyed, then you will lose the scenario. Otherwise, you're working toward certain scenario goals. Now, other things players are going to be able to do is walk around the ship and then be able to do a maneuver. So you do a maneuver from a specific area, which I'll get to in a moment. But when you do that, you're able to do something a little bit different. Perhaps try to dodge some damage or damage enemies back, or maybe draw treasure cards for yourself. So those are going to be things that also add to the different things that you're trying to do. But overall, you're trying to make sure that your ship makes it safely through all of these scenarios, and you're constantly going to be running around patching it up, but also firing off at the different enemies. So first I'm going to go over the board that you see in front of you, and then I'm going to show you the app and how it integrates with the game. So here you can see we have 3 different players playing the game, and their miniatures are here on the ship, the Arrow. So you have Enki, Alma, and Shin, and those are the different players as well as the cards that they have in their hand, which are going to add different things for them. Now over here is the treasure card deck, which is where you're going to be drawing treasure cards from, and once they're used, will go over here to this discard pile, whereas this is your construction deck, which is going to be different things that you are able to construct and then add onto your ship, and then once you do so, a new card will be drawn, giving you a new blueprint to something else. So these are things that you're going to want to build onto your ship to make you stronger and basically upgrade it for yourselves. Now, looking at your ship, something that's very interesting is that the game relies heavily on using the ship terms of port and starboard, which you'll get used to very quickly, but as a rule that I always learned as a kid, port and left have 4 letters, so those are always the same. So your port side is going to be this side here, whereas your starboard is going to be this side over here. And your map will reference where to place certain things, but the app also shows you very clearly exactly where those things are supposed to be happening. So whether or not you know the different phrases, you'll still be able to tell exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Now this is mid-scenario, but most enemies you're going to be able to anticipate because they will be coming up on this area here. So you'll know that they're prepping to try to come on one or the other side of you, but some things may surprise you, such as this Kraken showing up here. Now, depending on where these different enemies are, that's how you're going to be able to attack them as well. So you can see where there are these construct areas, and you're able to have things such as cannons, and then players are going to be able to use an action to use those cannons to fire against the enemies. So for example, if this enemy was to move up to here, then you would be able to shoot them with this cannon, and that's represented with different tokens. So depending on how much damage you do, you're going to choose to roll one of these die, and then you're going to remove tokens based on your total number of damage, both based on the die as well as anything else adding to it, such as a card you chose to play, or these ally abilities, because players are going to be able to move around the board and drop their tokens, providing an ally ability for other players, which is really going to enhance the cooperative aspect of the game. So as you can see, each of these characters have different abilities. Shin's, for example, is a reroll 1 die and keep the new result, which could be any of your die that you're rolling for different actions, whereas Alma provides additional symbols for you when you're trying to repair different things. So You're going to be able to use these as you move around the board and then have them contribute to the different actions that you're taking. Now, that might seem like a lot, but the game is honestly very intuitive once you understand the map and how things are placed and how enemies take damage, such as removing their tokens from their different boats, and also how to use the app itself. So players on their turns are going to be able to move and then do one of 3 actions. So first and foremost, you're going to be able to shoot at enemies that are in a sector with a cannon. So you have to move to that cannon and be in that area, and then you'll be able to roll one of these die, perhaps have it buffed by different things that are helping you, like ally abilities or cards that you're able to play, but then you're going to do damage to the different enemies by removing their tokens from their ships. And once they're destroyed, they provide barrels, which is going to be great because that's how you get more treasure cards or build some of the constructs. But another thing that players are going to be able to do is rebuild, which is going to be absolutely crucial, because when enemies do damage, you draw tokens from this bag, and they're going to do different types of damage, such as fire, water, or crack damage. So depending on what happens, you're rolling this die trying to repair that damage in the room. And again, you're able to buff this with different things, and you're going to want to do so because you're constantly trying to protect your outer shell, because if your helm or your hold are ever destroyed, you're going to lose the scenario. So other areas can be destroyed. You don't want that to happen because damage will spread, but as you're trying to mitigate what's happening throughout the scenario, you need to be sure to protect your helm and your hold. Now, your hold is where you're able to hold more barrels, and that's going to trigger being able to draw treasure cards for all players, which is really, really good. But your helm is going to be where you're able to do a maneuver action. So you can only do 1 maneuver action per round among the players, but when you're doing that in the helm, you're able to roll this, hopefully augment it, and have even more of the ship symbol applied to it. And then that's going to provide special actions for you. So with that, I'm going to walk you through some of the player turns and then what the enemies attacking is going to look like as well. So here you can see on the app that it mirrors basically everything that we have here plotted on the board. So we have our 2 enemy ships on our port side, as well as the Kraken and the yellow enemy ship here on our starboard side, and then we have the damage that's currently been taken. So we have 2 damage both in the fronts, and then we have 1 within both of our centers, and then our back starboard side actually has 3 damage, whereas our port side only has 2. So you can see where we have a ton of damage as well as a ton of enemies. And finally, at the end of this enemy phase, it told us to place the storm card in front of the ship. So that's why we have the storm side face up now, which is going to provide the ability of -1 fire and then impossible to maneuver, meaning that that maneuver action that you are able to do here in the helm is actually impossible for this round for players. Now, you are able to play this game solo, and if you do so, you control at least 2 characters, but something that's really interesting is that during this part of the game, you're able to move all of the characters. So this is simultaneous, where everyone is able to move and drop their tokens to hopefully help other players, and then after that, you will simultaneously resolve things and then all input it into the app. So this is very fast-paced, where you're able to have a lot of things happen throughout the game, because all of this is cooperative as well as simultaneous, so you're all kind of moving along together. So for an example of that, we do have Shin here, and their token ability is that they're able to allow players to reroll 1 die and keep the new result. So we will have them drop this token over here and then move over to this side. But if we have Alma move down 1, 2 over to here, they're able to shoot at the Kraken. And as you can see for them, they actually get to roll a red die as well as do an extra damage. So we're going to get one of our red dies over here and have them roll toward the Kraken. And that's going to be a 2. Now we can re-roll, and I'd say let's go for it. Let's try re-rolling, and we got a 3. So we have 3 plus the 1 damage, meaning that we're able to do 4 damage to the Kraken here, removing their tokens, and now they only have 2 left. So you can see where we did a bit of damage, and to be able to show that, you would press this button here, click on the damage, and then you would click onto the Kraken. So you can see where you're able to put out other damage. For example, if players did damage somewhere else, you're able to record it all and put it through the app. Now, if we were able to remove all of the tokens from an enemy ship or the Kraken, that's when they're going to drop barrels. So barrels are going to be extremely important. It's how you're going to build these different constructions, which is going to add either better cannons for you or other things that you're able to upgrade to your ship. Or you're also able to bank them here to draw treasure cards. So you can see in a 2-player game you need 3 barrels, in a 3-player game 4, and a 4-player game 5 barrels. But once you have those barrels banked there, you're able to use them to draw treasure cards, which you can see that some of our players have. So an example of them would be +2 water. So that would be one that when you're rebuilding, you're able to add water symbols, perhaps fixing an area that needs it. You also have Loyal Mate. Everyone may reroll 1 die this turn, which could be really crucial. And then we also have over here +2 fire, or the Shell of Fortune, which is reroll 1 die. So these treasure cards, as well as the constructs, are going to be things that players are really trying to work toward. But a major part of the game is honestly going to be rebuilding your ship. You need it to be sturdy enough to pass through all of these different enemies, and if you're not able to take them all out, at least you need to be able to survive. So I am going to fast forward us now to the enemy turn so you can see what taking damage looks like. Alright, and I do have the music turned on right now just for you to hear that aspect as well, but we're going to end our player turns by clicking that button and then this one over here.
We're almost there. And this sea, it hasn't claimed us yet. So hold the helm, hold your ground, and above all, hold fast to the very end.
This is Elara, our captain, talking to us. So now the enemies here are going to attack.
Forward port quarters, blazing bad.
And that's when we'll draw from this bag. So another damage is going to be placed in our our front port room. And another in the mid port. Goodness. Oop. Okay. We have 3 back here. My goodness, it's on fire and cracking.
Blasted fog. Still sailing through cotton. If you don't steer, we're gonna crash. Good luck, Amy mateys. Be ready to patch the hull.
And then now the fog is going to be the current weather part that we will flip over to, so you can see where you now have the next section. Now this is our progress tracker, so you can see where we're almost through this whole scenario. And then this is going to be the point where you choose to either have your sails reduced or deployed, and we'll choose to have ours reduced this round. And now we would be able to play through another round.
Crew, it's up to you.
And again, this is where we would now log our different choices. So I did want to show you what a maneuver ability is going to look like. I'll turn the music off for now. But the maneuver, if you were able to do this, I'm just going to show you some of the options it'll give you. So now you can have either the bonus of re-rolling a die, evade, dodge some damage, or fish, recover barrels. So barrels, again, are going to be ways for you to either gain treasure cards as you bank them up in this area here, or as you build different constructs. And dodging some damage would honestly be really great because we're taking on a lot of damage. So you can see how the maneuver abilities are also going to be very strong because they're going to give you a lot of options, especially depending on the number of successes you're able to use for this action. Now, I did find where the game was very easy to learn and very intuitive. It is pretty difficult, and I do believe that there are different difficulties planned for the game, but there are a lot of enemies, and if you don't take them out, they're going to be damaging your ship pretty quickly. And if your helm or your hold are destroyed, then you're going to lose the scenario. So it can be very, very difficult and a little bit deceiving, where the game may seem pretty simple on the surface with the different actions you have available, but every choice is really going to matter with what you're trying to do to make sure that you make it through the scenario alive. Legends of the Seas is going to be a game where all of your base actions just make sense. So you do have that added layer of asymmetry where certain players are better at doing certain things, but you're going to be shooting off against the different enemies, trying to take them out before they damage your ship. But once they do damage your ship, you're trying to rebuild those different areas, all while trying to do some quirky maneuvers that might get you some special things along the way, and collecting any barrels that are floating around in the water, because those are going to be able to be converted for you into treasures or other special things. So you are constantly trying to protect your ship in different ways, both by fixing it as well as fighting off against these different enemies. And as I said, there is a layer of asymmetry. For example, Alma is a lot better at attacking the enemies, where she'll roll a die and then do an extra damage as well. But Shin's support ability that he's able to use for other players allows them to re-roll a die. So everyone is special in their different ways with the different things that they're able to do, but you're also going to have choices that you make along the scenario as well. So the scenario will be walking you through thematically not only these different monsters showing up and attacking you and where they are around you on the ship, but it's going to present you with different choices as well, where you may choose to sail in particular areas, and that's going to affect what's going to happen next. So this has been a preview of Legends of the Seas. You can check out the game file link down below for everything that they have planned. I've been Professor Meg. Thank you all for watching the Board Game Co channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!